Overall, though, does Warzone look better after the integration than before? You're right, it does.
Surely, yeah.
Pretty much no matter what, after the integration, this game is going to be a lot more fun than it is right now, and I'm very excited. Plus, we're going to have the novelty of new guns, a new map, some of the new perks, Combat Scout and Shrouded and all that bullshit. It's going to be a blast whenever it launches. Activision devs do not play their own game.
3,000 devs can't figure out how to add a reconnect feature to a AAA title, I guess. I don't know.
Because Infinity Ward doesn't tell their consumers anything.
Maybe that'll take some of the sweats away from Shoot House.
You can cope about that, for sure.
Thanks for tweeting, at least. Thanks for doing more than Infinity Ward has done. They just keep tweeting about the soccer bundles in the store.
Things that are bad. We've got a couple words. Why don't you kick it off, Tanner?
This is going to be a longer section than the first part you guys heard.
Change it, obviously, of course. We are live, boys and girls. Welcome to the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast, episode number 365. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon, and today I'm joined by Tanner, and today we got a lot to talk about, man. And doesn't it feel good, Tanner, to finally, it's been weeks, months maybe, some might say months, where we've had nothing, since we've had anything to talk about, I should say. And now we finally do. And now it's too much to talk about. It's kind of annoying.
It is.
We either
actually
have
annoying.
nothing or entirely too much.
It's overwhelming, to be honest, because there's so many different ways we could go. So yeah, let's say this right now. There are things that probably happened at CoD Next that we are aware of, and we maybe like mentioned and noticed that like probably pretty huge aspects of the game that we are going to forget to talk about on an episode at all. There will be numerous things like that. So there's just so much between zombies info, multiplayer info, Warzone info. There's a fucking ton. So we will forget things.
That is true. And because there is so much, we have changed our course in terms of what kind of episodes we're doing and how we're breaking this up. Because frankly, we can't do a CoD Next Saturday episode like we originally said at CoD Next. It's not possible. There's too much. So what we've decided to do is bifurcate that topic into Warzone and multiplayer. Today will be Warzone. We'll get into multiplayer in a second. So what we're going to be talking about, as I just said, is Warzone. We learned quite a bit from CoD Next about MWIII's implementation into Warzone 2. We also learned about the new map, Urzikstan. We have a picture of it. We've got a lot of information. And obviously we've seen gameplay as well. So there's a lot to talk about with respect to Warzone. There's probably even more to talk about with multiplayer as well. And to do each of these two topics justice, we're going to dedicate an entire episode to each, respectively. So we're going to be doing 2 episodes. Today, we're doing Warzone. That's the plan. So there will be a lot of things, like Tanner said, that we're probably going to miss, and that's okay, because we have plenty of time till Warzone comes out anyway, and we're going to hit on, I'm sure, the most important things. I don't think we've missed anything very important or glaring. And if we did, we've got quite a few weeks to continue talking about things. But that's what's on the docket for today. Before we get started, a couple of announcements. First of all, that begs the question, when will we be talking about multiplayer? Okay, so for this month, the month of October, Tanner and I graciously, because we're magnanimous this way, will be allowing, once again, free trials of our Patreon where we do bonus episodes and more. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to do the multiplayer reaction to CoD Next on Patreon. And that's where we're going to get into the details of all the multiplayer shit we've learned since CoD Next and obviously the PlayStation beta. And that's where, again, I would say there's arguably even more to talk about than Warzone, because we have the whole new perk system, which is definitely implemented, the maps, the gunsmith mechanics, so many details to get into there.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is next week, we are going to do a Patreon exclusive bonus episode all about getting into the weeds with multiplayer, because we've learned so much. I'm very excited for that episode. I'm more excited to do that episode than this Warzone episode, because we know so much more about multiplayer. And we'll be playing the beta ourselves next weekend as well. So there's a ton to get into there, and we're going to be doing that on Patreon. Now, some of you listening might be fucking seething. Hey, I'm poor. First of all, if you have internet, you can afford $5 a month, to be clear. But whatever. I'm poor. I can't stop buying pumpkin spice lattes every day, so I can't afford $5 for an entire month of bonus episodes and more benefits. So I'm mad you're doing the multiplayer episode on your Patreon, because now I can't listen to it because I'm unwilling to save $5 for a month, which none of you would have to save to do, by the way. You have internet connections, you have more than enough money. However, luckily for you, peasant, okay, free trials on the Patreon exist for exactly this reason. Starting October 13th all the way to the 31st of October, we're allowing free trials of the Patreon. So once that multiplayer episode goes live, which will be by or before the 13th, you can go to patreon.com/thedropshot. You can join our Patreon for free. And for an entire week, you get every single gold patron episode we've ever done, ever, for a week, including that multiplayer episode. So it effectively will be available to the public for free. You don't have to spend any money. However, in the case of the multiplayer bonus ep, you're going to have to go to the Patreon to listen to it. Patreon.com/thedropshot. And with that free trial, you will get access again to all of our past gold episodes, as well as the multiplayer one, the current ones, of course. You'll also get a little teaser, a little taste of what it's like to have ad-free listening, early access listening, and the Patron Alley in Discord, which is a fun and exciting place to be. And you'll get a colored name and everything in Discord. Nice golden name. So for the month of October, starting on the 13th, we will be offering free trials. The reason we're not offering free trials sooner than that is because we want to give you guys ample time to listen to the multiplayer bonus episode. And if the multiplayer bonus episode comes out on, say, the 12th, and your free trial ends on the 13th, you're on like a time crunch now, and we don't want to do that to anyone. So we're just going to circumvent that. Free trials will go live on the day, or probably more likely after that multiplayer bonus episode is already out. So as soon as you become a free trial patron in October, you'll already be able to listen to that multiplayer episode because it will have gone live before then. In addition to, again, every gold patron episode we've ever done. So patreon.com/thedropshot. Join the free trials once they go live on the 13th. You'll hear more about that in the middle of this episode. Get fucked. Yeah. And you can also enjoy, other Patreon content we're going to be doing this month. Because there's going to be a lot to cover. There's going to be a lot.
It'll be nice too if you sign up when we start them next week, because you can get early access to like the Saturday episode, which will be our first impressions from playing the beta, and you'd otherwise have to wait until Monday for that, but you'll get that right midday on Saturday basically, or early evening depending on where you are. But yeah, so that'll get out there right away. Yeah. And then of course, the trial is only for gold, but what you're going to do is you're going to listen, you're going to love the bonus episodes, and then as the trial ends, you're going to upgrade to Platinum or Damascus for $10 or $20 a month, because you're going to want more. So that's how it works.
That's correct. Yes, there are additional benefits that are worth it at Platinum and Damascus and Obsidian. So you should be upgrading, of course. But yeah, the goal here for us is you become a free trial patron, give it a try. You don't have to give us any money. And then if you find enough value in getting ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and 3 bonus episodes a month, then you can be like, you know what? I'm glad I tried the free trial. I'm going to stick around because I like these bonus episodes. And now is, again, the best time to do it because we're coming into the new game. So, yeah, that's going to be available. And that's how we're doing this. Warzone today, multiplayer next week through our Patreon. Another announcement for those of you watching us live, or if you're watching the video on YouTube, we are now doing our episodes of the podcast in stunning crystal clear 1440 pixel definition. We're in ultra high definition, I believe is what they call it on the internet. That might be 4K actually. Maybe it's like super high definition or something.
1440 is 2K. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
what is...
some people say UHD, ultra high def. I don't know if that refers to 2K or 4K.
I think that's just some dog shit the TV industry came up with.
Yeah, it's like a marketing
to make it sound better.
Course.
I don't think it's actually probably anything different.
Either way, we used to stream and record and upload videos in 1080p. We're now doing it in 1440p. So if you have good internet and you're watching us live right now, make sure you click that cogwheel and go all the way up to 1440p. You can see this pimple I've gotten in even higher clarity. You can also see Tanner's bald head in even higher clarity.
Yeah.
His vanishing hairline, and more. But yeah, we are now available in 1440p. The only downside of that is that Kick just doesn't take 1440p. So until Kick allows us to stream in 1440p, we're done on Kick for now. Continue being a sub and member there.
Oh my
obviously.
God, I forgot we had Kick. Wait, yeah, so we're not live on Kick right now, right?
It just doesn't work, yeah.
Yeah. Really? Yeah. That's how it worked. Okay.
Yeah, I press it and it just doesn't work, yeah. So
yeah, Kick's a dog shit website.
So Kick's a dog shit website. Once Kick allows us to stream in 1440, we'll probably be back on there, but until that time, I would rather have a higher quality stream and recording than also be multi-streaming to Kick where like max 5 people are watching at a time. So that's how we've decided to go forward for now. But yeah, if you're watching any video right now, hit the cogwheel. You can go up to 1440p now. It doesn't sound like a big difference, but it does look a lot better than 1080p. It's more than double the number of pixels. It's like earthquake magnitudes, where like 3 isn't a little bigger than a 3.0 earthquake isn't a little bigger than a 2.0 earthquake. It's literally 10 times bigger. And a 4.0 is 10 times bigger than a 3. Yeah.
I just went full screen and changed them both. I went from 1080 to 14. It is very noticeable, yeah.
It's like an order of magnitude or more better. Yeah, it's a lot better. So
shout out to Crash Games for that, by the way. We were like, why does this quality look so good? And then I was like, oh, we never upgraded to 1440 when we had talked about that last. That's what it is. He streams and uploads in 1440. We need to do that. So
yeah. So shout out to Crash Games for that and for inspiring us to get moving on the thumbnails. You guys have probably seen the stunning Mid-Journey thumbnails we've been using now as well.
Stunning, huh? Yeah. What'd you do for the last one?
Take a peek. Tell me what you think of it. It's funny to me because every time I upload one, there's always something weird that makes it obvious it's an AI picture. Where it's like, if you glance at it, like for a thumbnail, it's good enough. You glance at it and you know what's going on. But if you really look in detail, it's like, wait, this person has 4 arms and there's no mouse at their computer. Like, this is weird. You can still tell it's like AI if you look closely.
One of these characters, it looks like they have 2 heads.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what it is. It's weird. And then they don't have, there's like a little mouse pad sitting next to them, but there's no mouse on it. It's like the mouse pad is super small. That's funny. That's actually pretty good though. Like if you are just scrolling and glance at that, you would actually like quickly just think that's an actual picture of CoD Next, because that's how it was laid out, basically. It's a bunch of PCs.
Yeah,
like
I
obviously
put in the prompt.
You can tell when you start looking at it, but
but no one will. And I feel like I'm getting one by on all of the YouTube, and I feel devious every time I upload one. But there's always something looking fucky. But anyway, yeah. And yeah, by the way, Crash, if you're listening at any time, if you have any tips on if I could improve my thumbnails, let me know. Because right now, all I'm doing is using Mid-Journey. I know you said you use like 4 programs, so if you have any tips, slide in our DMs. Or don't. It's fine. You don't have to, obviously. But anyway, yeah, we're now in stunning 1440p. Besides that, yeah, this is going to be a crazy week, but I think we're ready to get into this. Do we have any other announcements?
No.
All right, if you're listening for the jingle, here it is. Give us money, by the way. Thanks. Okay. Nicole! 9-month friend of the pod on YouTube. Thank you, young lady. We appreciate that. And you. Thank you, Queen. Oh, right. Boys and girls, welcome to the Dropshot, episode 365. So today what we're going to be doing, as I've said, is talking about Warzone and how it will be changing come the integration. Now, keep in mind, there, as we just have said, there is so much information that I don't know how to categorize or order it, so I didn't. We just wrote down a bunch of shit.
It's a disaster.
And we're just going to talk about it. Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to the order in which we will talk about things. But so the structure is going to be the entire episode. We're going to be talking about Warzone.
That's a fucking dog shit order. Yeah, I was just throwing things in there.
I don't think
it's
the order
possibly
is
the worst
wrong.
order we've ever put out there, man.
No, I disagree.
You don't think? It's out there.
I would have ordered it if there was a way to order it, but there isn't. It's all random.
We would have to sit there and stare at it for like 20 or 30 minutes to order it correctly. Yeah. It's just, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Either way, we're gonna talk about all of it anyway. So yeah, so no particular order about the things we're gonna be discussing, but there is a lot to get into. So let's get into it. First of all, we got details on the new map. So the new map is called Urzikstan. It is not Al-Mazrah. Now, I would like to compare this overhead view to that campaign image.
So I was about to say, this is the Las Almas layout. It is. This is the exact Las Almas layout. It's just, I don't know what changed along the way. It started like a month, or I guess probably a couple months ago. People are like, it's not Las Almas, it's Urzikstan. So all that was a name. It is still the same exact layout we saw in the Modern Warfare 2 campaign. From what I remember, I mean, this looks exactly like it. There's like a little island in the middle. It all looks pretty much exactly like it.
Right.
You know, maybe the main difference I would say in that little map image, there weren't as many buildings because it kind of showed areas that were, I guess, more urban, like the city on the map. But this is, I mean, there are buildings all over the map. It's primarily buildings and structures, really. So that's the difference. But like the actual just layout, the water, the main roads, it's the same. It's the Las Almas thing we got in the campaign. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot to say about the map, obviously. There will be more once we play Warzone, but that won't be for a while, or play on Urzikstan. But a couple things we can say now. There is some water. I don't know how relevant it's going to be, but it looks like it's going to be a little more relevant than water on Maz, unfortunately, because there's a lot centrally.
Yes.
So I'm worried water's going to play more of a role than it did in Al-Mazrah, and that's really bad.
And you got to think too, to get to like that area in the middle, you're gonna cross water almost 100% of the time to
or
get to
go
that
through
area.
a really dangerous visible choke point, which is
That's
like
what
the
I'm
two
saying.
roads.
Yeah, you're not
exactly.
gonna drive across the road or run across it. Probably you're just gonna swim.
Oh, let me write that down. Vehicles. But anyways, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so looking at the map, one thing to note as well, besides that, is there are POIs. There are a lot more buildings, so it's a lot more densely populated with buildings than Maz, and it's also smaller than Maz. So the size is more similar to Caldera, which is what Ted Timmy Timmons was saying. So that size is fine. I think the size is a lot less relevant than the more important metric, I would say, is people per square foot. And that's what we just still don't know. We don't know what the lobby size is going to be. So if there was a map that was twice as big as Al-Mazrah, but there were also 500 people, that would probably feel pretty similar to, you know, like Caldera or something. Because it's not really about how big the map is. It's about how densely populated with other teams it is, ultimately. So at CoD Next, the lobby size was like 100 players, 99 players. But that is not necessarily going to be the case on launch. We don't know what the player count, or at least Tanner and I don't know what the player count is expected to be.
I mean, that's what we're at right now is 100, so it wouldn't shock me if it stayed
or something.
This way. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And I saw people that played it saying that it needs more players because it felt slow, but they may just end up doing something like they've done now, changing the circle timings to make it even faster, so the lobbies are smaller, possibly. I don't know. So, I would expect it, though, honestly, to launch around 100 players like we have right now.
I agree. I think that's a very likely outcome. Yeah. Because if it's on a smaller map than Al-Mazrah, but the same player count that Maz has right now, I think that would make people not very mad on launch. So I think they would probably do that. And how they integrate the circles into that, we don't really know.
Yeah, and if you can move around the map faster, that'll make it feel quicker too. Because like Maz right now, you don't have a vehicle and you're just running around. It's like, oh my god, it takes forever to get somewhere.
Right.
So with faster movement, it'll make it all just play quicker. And then they can even do something like adding more balloons, drones. Yeah,
they could do a lot.
They call them in this game. So
right.
The player count may be okay. I would expect it to just launch around 100 though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I agree. Yeah, and then overall, my thoughts on like the map itself. I don't have a strong opinion on the map. I'm worried that there's too much water. Besides that, I don't really have much else to say. I mean, I like that there are more buildings, especially because they're not Verdansk buildings that are 100 stories tall that you can shoot out of every window. That doesn't seem to be the case, which is good. I originally, for those of you who've been listening for a very long time, thought Verdansk was a bad Warzone map because there were too many buildings. That was my original contention. I now see that it's not exactly that. It's that there were too many dogshit buildings. That was the problem with Verdansk. There were too many buildings that were multiple stories high, and you could shoot out of every single window of every single level, and you could get in and out at every single window and every single level. That was not the case that's not the case in Maz. It's not the case in Vondel. It's not the case in Ashika. So it seems like they've kind of learned their lesson, and they're like, hey, if we're going to make a 16-story building, you need to be able to get in at the bottom and at the top, and that's kind of it. So now when I run past that building, instead of having to check 16 windows, I only have to check 2. That makes the building fine, and therefore I revise my statement on Verdansk. It's not that Verdansk had too many buildings, it's that it had too many dogshit buildings. Now this map, there are a lot of buildings, similar to Verdansk. It has almost, maybe more buildings than Verdansk had.
For sure more. I was just looking at a Verdansk map because I was thinking about that. This 100% has way more buildings.
Yes. However, that doesn't mean it's going to be dog shit like Verdansk was, because they might not be dog shit buildings. So that's something that I think is going to be actually pretty good, frankly, because Al-Mazrah right now is very big and very empty. There's like clear distinctions between multiple POIs, and especially with the Maz meta being no zoom optics, that makes for a very slow and boring game. And that won't be a problem on Urzikstan, which is good. The pacing will feel different, for sure, of this map. So overall, my opinion of it now, and this is very preliminary, is that it's going to play better than Maz. It'll be more fun than Maz. And hopefully it's not too campy. And I'm pretty optimistic it won't be, because, again, they'll design the buildings better. There will be a ton of zip lines as well. There are now horizontal zip lines in addition to vertical zip lines.
Those look dope.
So for example, there was a building called Favorite by the Recon Randys on Verdansk. And the reason that building was so strong is because it was really tall. You could see off the roof to a ton of different areas. You could snipe, and you could easily cover every possible entry onto the roof of that building because there were 2 staircases. Put claymores down, you're good. You can snipe for free. That's just not going to be possible anymore. Because if that building was in Urzikstan, there would be 4 zip lines going up to it, the roof, and then there would also be horizontal zip lines coming in from downtown and military base to it. So you couldn't just camp the roof that easily for free anymore. And that's going to be the case in Urzikstan, which I think is going to make it less campy. It'll make the buildings less campable, which is good. So I think this is going to play pretty well. But that's very early. I have to play it myself.
My worry is none of the POIs will feel special. Because looking at the overhead view, the whole map looks exactly the same. Like, it's seriously 75% buildings. Whereas, like, Verdansk had a lot of areas with buildings. But between those areas, there would generally be open fields, open areas to kind of, like, go through in order to get to the next set of buildings and POI. That's not this case at all. The whole south side of the map is just all buildings. So there's, like, the POI called Zaravan City, we're calling it City, and there's one called Suburbs. That whole area is going to just feel exactly the same. And then you go up to the north side of the map, and it's like a resort. There are other little suburb areas you can tell. There's an old town right in the middle of the map, low town. Like, I just feel like so many of these POIs are going to blend together, and none of them will feel special. And it'll just feel like repetitive, possibly, from very similar areas just full of buildings. That's my main worry.
Yeah.
It seems like it all, like, even watching the gameplay, I was like, nothing looks special about the map. Which, I mean, I guess you could really kind of say about Al Mazrah too. Nothing was special about it. So, like, you know, it'll probably end up playing well. It's just nothing seems like it's going to stand out as being, like, memorable or like a really excellent POI that you love and it feels that much better than something. I don't know. Just kind of seems boring, maybe.
I think that's possible for sure, but, and I don't think you disagree with this, once we play it ourselves, we'll have a better handle on that. Because, like,
that's what we've learned a lot throughout the pod. You can't judge anything by just watching it. You have to play it yourself. We used to, like, make those assumptions a lot. You just can't.
Yeah. Because, like, if you looked at an overhead view of, like, Verdansk, and you looked at, like, I can even pull it up. Oh, no, I can't. Never mind. And you looked at, like, hospital versus, I don't know, train station, it'd be like, those kind of look similar from an overhead view. But if you go there, you're like, oh, these actually feel quite different. So I think what you're saying is possible. Don't get me wrong. But it's also possible they do feel distinct. And yeah, we will see once we play it ourselves. So anyway, moving on. This is just a question I have. It's not an observation. I didn't notice anyone using vehicles on this map. Did you?
No.
I wonder if the vehicles are going to be the same.
We pointed those out. They were the same because it was the same white Jeep and it was the same Bertha. So unfortunately, they'll probably handle exactly the same as they do right now in Warzone 2.
We need a vehicle movement update as well as an infantry.
We need a vehicle overhaul. Yeah, the vehicle.
I need to slide cancel in a vehicle. It's just that simple.
Yeah. Yeah, you can pop that e-brake, by the way. Did I tell you that recently?
No.
I was playing Ground War the other day. Someone did. Yeah, it's just they for no reason changed it to the most awkward keybind on KBAM, and I can't even remember what it is now.
Oh.
It's like left
F10?
alt or something. It's super weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do you not just keep it as fucking spacebar?
Yeah.
But also, it just doesn't work that well in this Warzone because the vehicles handle so poorly to start with. If you mash that e-brake, you just lose control, basically. It's not like Warzone 1 where the e-brake, you could get a nice turn and then keep going straight. It's like you e-brake, you come out of it, your car's still like kind of moving in that direction and spinning, and then you just lose control.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for sure. So anyway, yeah, hopefully they do a vehicle update, but I'm not sure they will. Another thing to keep in mind, by the way, according to JGod, the build of Warzone 2 that we saw at COD Next was 3 months old.
Yeah.
which implies that there's a newer build. Or at least that there will be a newer build by the time launch comes around, which is almost certainly true.
Yeah.
So
he said it was about a 3-month-old build because they wanted them all to play on the most stable build, of course. So that,
which was smart.
Internally, if they do play test the game, they probably don't. But in theory, the build they play themselves when testing all of this is different than what we saw at CoD Next. So, there are some big things like no perks in the game. Maybe that's in a future build, or that is planned and they just haven't made that clear. I don't know. But as of right now, yeah, that build was a few months old. So things could change pretty drastically.
Yes. And then the next thing, this is like a big topic, is and Tanner and I speculated on this a lot, is we're getting a movement update, but what about the perk system? Because the perk system in MW3 multiplayer is different than the perk system in MW2 and therefore Warzone 2. In MW2, you get a red, blue, and yellow perk. That's it. And you're guaranteed one of each, and that's it. And there's no way around it. In MW3, you get a guaranteed vest, and then that dictates how many other perks you can get. And perks are renamed to like equipment types. So there's vests, gloves, boots, and gear. And if you run like an infantry vest, for example, I think you lose the gear perk. That's like one of the things. So obviously this is incongruent with Warzone 2's current perk system where you just get 3 perks. So a big question was, are we going to get the new perks for Warzone 2 or are we going to stick with the old ones? And what it seems like now is that we're going to just stick with the old ones and then they're going to slap some extras on top, which is kind of a letdown because one of the things that we really liked about the perk system in MW3 is that there exists some perks that give you access to new mechanics. So for example, Commando Gloves enables reloading while sprinting. If I get really used to that in MW3 multiplayer, and then I go play Warzone, which has the same movement as MW3 multiplayer, I will lose the ability to reload while sprinting, and it will be impossible for me to enable reloading while sprinting in Warzone 2 because Commando Gloves don't exist. Or another example of a new mechanic is ADSing while sliding. You can do that in MW3, but only with
tactical pads.
Tactical pads, which is what I said. And if you can't equip tactical pads in Warzone 2, then you're just going to get used to ADSing while sliding while you're playing multiplayer. Come to Warzone that feels the same because the movement's the same. And then you're going to try to ADS while sliding, but you can't and you get fucked. Well, it appears that according to JGod, at least the sliding while ADS thing, you can do that by default without those tactical pads in Warzone 2. Does that mean that every mechanic will just be an automatic thing you get that doesn't require perks or gear since it doesn't exist in Warzone 2? That's possible, and that's a pretty elegant solution. So every new mechanic that you can get from the gear will automatically be applied to how you work in Warzone 2. That's not confirmed, but that is possible, especially since you could ADS while sliding in Warzone 2 at CoD Next, even though you didn't have tactical pads since they don't exist in Warzone 2. We don't know if they're going to extrapolate that out to all the mechanics, but I think it's obvious you're not going to get all the benefits of all the gear in Warzone 2 without, like, by default. Like, you're not going to get the increased weapon swap speed from quick grip gloves by default in Warzone 2. But you might get all the mechanics. What are your thoughts on all this?
Like, obviously, a lot of these wouldn't come anyways, like covert sneakers, eliminate footstep sounds. They're not going to let everyone run around with dead silence in Warzone. I mean, that would kill Warzone if so. That would be the worst experience ever.
Right.
I'd like to maybe hear someone, but right before they're shooting me. You probably don't anyways. But yeah, so it's just unfortunate because like everything we saw when we were watching it and from what people were saying that were at CoD Next, multiplayer felt a lot better than Warzone. Like everyone was giving multiplayer really high remarks, and they're like, don't get me wrong, Warzone is much better than what it was last year, and it feels much better than Warzone right now in Al Mazrah. But it's just, without having the gloves, the boots, different gear options, it really takes away from what made Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer feel special, which is like the ability to do these different things. Because like the gloves, you can only select one, and they're kind of hard to pick from. They could be hard to pick from. Like one is increasing weapon swap speed. If they swap the whole perk system over and there's no fast hands, then that glove is looking really, really tasty, right? But then there's another glove, as we said, Commando gloves enables reloading while sprinting. That may be worth it more than increased weapon swap speed. So there are a lot of really cool things that come down to mobility with these gear sets, these perks. And it's really unfortunate if they don't bring these to Warzone, because this is the whole reason Modern Warfare 3 is feeling different, is because of this system they've created this year with the gear sets and like the boots. Like they have really good potential, and it's really unfortunate if we never see these in Warzone. So
I agree. I would like to see
that's
these
like the
a
biggest
lot.
That would be the biggest L in Warzone, but I don't really know. And there's also like nobody knows what's going on, I don't think, because at some point, like the announcers for CoD Next that were kind of just, sitting there talking, or maybe it was like the people in between matches, like the analysts, they were saying things about like the perks are coming. Like one of them I had seen on Twitter made some comment saying like, oh yeah, and when when these are in Warzone, you get to choose between the gloves and boots. But they never confirmed that. They never played on that build that had it. And apparently the devs did confirm that you're keeping all the Modern Warfare 2 perk system, and this isn't coming. So I don't know. Like everyone was just confused. But why would the analysts think that this is coming unless they had heard something mentioning that it maybe was coming? Or it's just one of the things where just everybody seems confused about it. So,
yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Bottom line, I think the whole perk and gear system from multiplayer needs to come to Warzone.
I agree. I think the best case scenario is they delete MW2 perks from Warzone and they fully implement MW3 perks and only MW3 perks. I don't think there's a way that you can marry both systems and have it work. You can't have perks, MW2 perks, and MW3 gear and boots and shit. It would be impossible to balance, and a lot of things do the same shit. So like quick grip gloves, increase weapon swap speed, plus fast hands, which has increased weapon swap speed in it. Do you swap weapons twice as fast? That it just doesn't work. That marriage doesn't work. So I think they can't do that and shouldn't do that. That would be bad. It would also be bad if we just only kept the MW2 perk system, because that perk system is frankly, as far as I can tell right now, inferior to the MW3 perk system. I think the MW3 perk system is way more inventive, and it has meaningful trade-offs that are interesting and hard to choose from. And in MW2, that's just not the case at all. It's fucking boring, and there's no choice. It's cookie cutter. So it seems to me it has to be one or the other. And unfortunately, it seems like they're going to go with MW2 perks. I don't think we're getting this gear system. The reason I don't think we're getting this gear system is because they've confirmed they're adding new perks. Combat Scout, for example, is coming to the game. It makes no sense for them to say they're going to add Combat Scout to Warzone and then also get rid of perks, so then Combat Scout goes away simultaneously. It doesn't make sense. So it seems to me pretty clear, unfortunately, that at least right now, or according to the dev who said this, we're going to just have the MW2 perk system in Warzone post-integration, but there are also going to be new perks as well, such as Combat Scout. And for those of you who don't remember, by the way, Combat Scout in Warzone 1 was a Warzone exclusive perk added in the Caldera era. It was in the yellow slot, and if you did damage to somebody, they would be outlined they would be highlighted in orange, and it would highlight them through cover. So if you're shooting someone who's running into a building, they're still orange and you see where they are in the building. And then you start wall banging them, right? And because you're doing damage, you're getting more combat scout. So then you're getting a refresh. So then you still see their orange highlight. So you're fucking their ass while they're in the building highlighted orange. And because you're doing damage, it's constantly refreshing. And then you just kill them through a wall because you have wall hacks because of this perk. It was entirely overpowered. And it will be coming to Warzone 2. So it seems to me, yeah, unfortunately, at least right now, the plan is for them to not do the MW3 gear system. They could change their minds, and I would love to see that. I would love for there to not be Combat Scout, and instead we just get the MW3 perk system. But that doesn't seem to be the plan right now, and I don't find it super likely they're going to change plans.
Okay, so Jake said in chat, saw a few replies to Metaphor. The devs confirmed on the broadcast that you can find gear in Warzone. So yeah, he sent Metaphor's tweet, and there are people responding to him that said during the panel they were saying you can find gear as loot. And the Raven dev mentioned that having the extra slide distance is super beneficial if you have those boots equipped.
And they were talking specifically about Warzone, obviously, yeah.
Yes, this.
Are you sure they weren't talking about zombies?
I mean, well, they're talking about Raven dev, so I would assume that's when Ted was sitting up there.
Yeah,
okay. And then somebody else said they just said you can find them at least. Super rare, or maybe it's not in the current build. That could be it. That would, I think, be okay for me, actually. If we just kept the perk system, but you can find gloves and boots. And
you'd have to pick and choose which pieces of gear are in ground loot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, of course it wouldn't be all of them. And then it comes down to, do they let you just pick up one? Do they let you pick up one boot, one glove? Is it just totally limited to one? I don't know. There are a lot of questions there. I mean, obviously, I'd rather just be able to select those and have them by default. But if the Raven dev said that on the broadcast, then, you know, maybe they are in. Again, like, they were playing on an older build. Maybe they're just in the newer one that they've been play testing.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that. That would be the only way to marry them that makes sense, because then you can take things like quick grip gloves, which increase your weapon swap speed, and just don't have them as loot in the loot pool, so you can't pick them up. That would be one way you could marry them. I think this would be a dog shit way to marry them, though.
It would be, and I can see them doing it.
Yeah, because then it's the same RNG bullshit we're dealing with now in Moz, where, oh, I found a tempered plate vest. I have all my perks, and now I also have tempered. So, like, I'm just more overpowered because I got lucky finding the vest. It would be fucking dumb, and I would hate that if they did it. I'd rather they just not implement it at all if that's what they're going to do.
The vests need to go. Yeah, the vests.
All the vest dog shit needs to go.
It's ridiculous. That whole system, none of those should be in ground loot. It's too RNG. It's bullshit. Yeah. Yeah, so unfortunately, because of that, the lootable vest thing, I can see them implementing it this way,
I could see them doing that.
But, you know, we also launched Warzone 2 without the ability to even choose to even run perks. So, I don't know. I'm hopeful that maybe they'd end up changing something. This is the one piece of feedback that everyone attended CoD Next is saying. They're like, they need to give us the perk system from multiplayer to Warzone. It would make it feel a lot better.
Yeah. And if there's enough pressure, they maybe will do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of a technical challenge that would be for Activision, but they could do it if they really wanted to, and I hope they do. And it's possible if there's enough pushback that they will, honestly. So we'll see. But that doesn't appear to be the plan for them right now. Yeah. But anyway, we got some other new perks being added to Warzone, or that will be added to Warzone. So Combat Scout's one of them. Here are 3 other new perks that will be in Warzone, according to Charlie Intel. Shrouded. You automatically poop a smoke grenade out when you get downed. Okay. Unfortunately, he doesn't list what slot these are in. Is that not known information?
It's probably not known. I don't think this was even in the gameplay.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
It's just coming at some point or on launch.
So anyway, that's one perk. Irradiated's another one. Move faster and take less damage in the gas. That's a fucking insanely dumb perk to add to Warzone, by the way. oh, gas plays have been a problem in Warzone since it launched. Let's make a perk where it's easier to do gas play exploits, which we've had a problem with since launch. That's a good idea. Who the fuck is running this except gas play exploiters? No one. This is insane to add, so okay. And then Resolute. Increase movement speed when damaged. That sounds really good. So yeah, Shrouded perk. I mean, that's kind of useful. Throw a smoke when you're downed, but you're like investing in optimizing being downed. You should just invest in a perk where you don't get downed in the first place. So that's probably not very good. I can't think of a slot that could go in to where I would run it. Maybe as a base perk, I would run it. What do I run now? Double time and overkill. So like maybe if it's a blue perk, I drop like overkill for it. But I don't know. I don't see it being that good. Irradiated, again, insanely stupid. I'm never gonna, as a legitimate player, I'm never taking a perk where I move faster and take less damage in the gas. I'm not trying to be in the gas ever. And if I am, it's for like 10 seconds at a time. So I'm of course not wasting a perk on being able to take less gas damage. Unless, again, I'm actively going out of my way to do gas plays and be a little rat cheeser. So that's insane.
That's a really good perk for a late game. That's it. It has one specific use and it's late game.
Yeah, sure. But again, I'd rather take a perk that like helps me get to late game. And again, we don't know what slot this would be in. And then Resolute, this perk seems really good. Increase movement when damaged. That's the only perk here that's like unambiguously solid as fuck. And it would depend on how much your movement speed gets increased when you're damaged. But keep in mind, this will be coming post-integration where you'll already be moving way faster than you are now. So if that's like an extra 10% movement speed, that could be fucking gross insane. And I wonder what slot it occupies, but I would be very tempted to take it.
That could make close range gunfights absolutely miserable. If all of a sudden, as soon as you start dealing damage to someone, they're just zooming. That just sounds awful. That just sounds like an absolute we hate K-Bammers moment.
Yeah.
Like, holy fuck. Yeah. The game doesn't need
supposedly
any of these
AA
perks.
is breakable though. Like actually.
Yeah, maybe.
They're like, it's pretty easy to break aim assist now, because the AA isn't as strong and movement's better. So like K-Bam theoretically can actually break AA, which would make this even more fair actually. But that's contingent on that being true, and I find it hard to believe. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the shrouded one, like I don't see how you're ever taking that one. Drop a smoke when you're downed. It totally depends what category they're in. Yeah, even the move faster, take less damage and gas.
Like I'm taking fast hands instead of that.
I'm not taking that for the whole match for it to be useful like late game. And don't get me wrong, that could be super useful late game. That can easily win you a match. If you can get a nasty flank route that they don't expect and come up totally behind someone and gas, that would be insane. But to use that perk for the whole match just to maybe have it come in handy late game, I don't see the use for that one either. So Resolute, kind of the only one that could be good. Increased movement with damage. But yeah, if that's in a category with fast hands, I'm never using it.
Exactly.
Even if it's, I don't know when I would use that.
I'm probably not using it if it's in the Ghost category either, honestly.
I wouldn't use it over Ghost, High Alert, I don't think. I certainly wouldn't use it over Combat Scout, probably.
Yeah.
Like the only time I would use any of these perks is probably Resolute, and that's if it was a perk in the first category, like maybe double time, because maybe you won't need double time in this game because the base tack sprint seems longer. It's hard to tell, and the movement's faster, so maybe drop it for that. But yeah, and then on the Combat Scout too, it's annoying that it's coming back, but it won't be as good on this map. Because with all the buildings, it won't come in handy as much. A lot of them, you'll probably barely be able to wall bang. So you'll see someone run in, then you'll kind of lose them.
It depends how bangable buildings are.
Combat Scout was really, really good on Caldera because it was all open. So as someone was trying to slide away from you, stim slide away, you would keep track of them going through bushes because of Combat Scout.
Yes.
So with more buildings, Combat Scout becomes far less useful. So hopefully it doesn't end up being busted like it was in Caldera. But yeah, not too impressed with any of these perks.
Same. Yeah. They're not interesting or impactful enough, I don't think. But we'll see how they're implemented.
Today's episode is brought to you by us. This is our own ad, Get Scammed. If you've been thinking of joining the Patreon, and now is the absolute best time. We just wrapped up our Call of Duty Next stream, and we are looking forward to recording a Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer deep dive bonus episode this next week. From October 13th to October 31st, free trials will be available on our Patreon, patreon.com/Dropshot. Sign up anytime during those dates, and you will get a 7-day free trial period at the gold tier. You will immediately gain access to our back catalog of bonus episodes along with early access public episodes. The Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer deep dive episode will be our first bonus episode of the month, and you will gain access to that and more coming later on in the month. Join at the gold tier for $5 a month for early access, ad-free episodes, 3 COD-related bonus episodes every month, and access to a patron Discord channel. $10 a month gets you the platinum tier. Everything from the gold tier alongside 1 Q&A every single month. Banger Q&As. Damascus, $20 a month. Comes with a nice little behind-the-scenes episode. Access to the Discord Damascus Lounge, which is the most lit channel in Discord. And of course, our monthly Damascus Hangout. $50 a month will get you the Obsidian tier. What do you get for it? Nothing more than bragging rights. You get a black name in Discord, access to the Obsidian Skybox chat. And of course, you just get to show people that you're rich. If you hated hearing this ad, now's the perfect time. Sign up for the Patreon free trials October 13th to the 31st, a 7-day free trial at the gold tier.
Yeah. But yeah, the tax sprint. It does appear you tax sprint way longer in this game, and the delay is shorter, which is good.
Yeah.
And also, stims now give you a speed boost once again.
They do.
Which is I think good, because like right now stims are just useless.
And it seems like pre-nerf Caldera speed, by the way. Like you zoom, and when you slide fast, and you slide far as fuck. Because if you guys forget, when they added the stim boost thing in Caldera, it was really, really good, and then eventually they nerfed it, so it wasn't quite as good. And then far less people used it. This looks like the pre-nerf stim speed boost. So they're really going out for the movement this year, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll take that. That sounds good. And then that leads on the topic of movement. There is some sort of weird slide delay, supposedly. So I'm seeing... I feel like this isn't the biggest issue, because if it was, everyone would be talking about it. But it seems like there are enough people talking about it to where something's going on. When I watch gameplay, I can't really tell, but evidently there is a weird slide delay that some people who've been playing the beta have been talking about. Tanner and I don't have a PlayStation, so we have not played any Warzone or multiplayer MW3 shit yet. But there is supposedly, according to the people who are playing it, a weird slide delay. Can you explain what the delay is, or what it means, or if it's real? Is it before you slide, after? What's going on?
Yeah, it definitely seems real. And it is, there are a lot of people complaining about it on Twitter. That's maybe that's probably the largest piece of feedback related to multiplayer that everyone's tweeting out there right now. They're like, movement feels great, Sledgehammer. The slide delay after sliding has to go, though. It ruins like the fluidity of all the movement mechanics that you added in the game this year. It feels so out of place. It seems just like Vanguard from what I can tell, where after you complete the slide, you kind of just can't do anything for a few hundred milliseconds. You can't sprint yet. You can't, I don't know. It's just like you kind of get stuck there. You can see when people complete a full slide, but there are ways to get around it. I guess if you cancel the slide before, you don't get the delay. If you come out at the end of the slide and are like ADSing and shooting, you don't have the delay. So it's basically like if you just try to complete one full slide and continue to sprint after, you get hit with a little delay.
There's like a point of no
I don't know
return.
how they change it, because this is what they do to get rid of it resetting tax sprint, I think. This is their way of making it so you can't do that. Because this is the same thing that was in Vanguard. It's just like you finish the slide and it just feels off. Like you're just stuck in the mud for a short little period of time, and it completely ruins how fluid it all feels. But if they don't fix this, there will be a workaround. Like I'm saying right now, you can ADS or shoot and it kind of stops it. Or if you cancel your slide, I guess a little bit before, it stops it. So even if they don't change this, I'm not that worried about it yet until I feel how bad it is when we play it next weekend. Because there will be some mechanic where you can just basically make it so you don't have that little delay. ADSing, doing something. I think there will be some workaround because it's like day one. People will find little movement exploits, of course, but it definitely is annoying to have there, and I hope they get rid of it regardless. So we'll see. My guess is they'll say something about it before we go into the beta next weekend. They'll either say we made a small tweak to it or we're not tweaking it, get fucked. But we'll probably have more info on that next weekend.
Yeah. And more importantly, we'll get to feel it ourselves. I'm very curious what this feels like, because this is one of those things where it's, you just kind of got to play it. So we'll talk more about that on our Patreon episode on multiplayer, actually. No, we won't.
No, we won't have played it yet.
We'll talk
Saturday bonus.
Next Saturday, next week, we'll talk more about this.
Yeah.
So
public app, not bonus.
Correct. Anyways, big game bounty contracts are also in Warzone, which is good, really good. For those of you who don't remember, it is like it's just a bounty contract, except the difference is it marks the team in the lobby with the most kills besides your team. So when you pick it up, your bounty is like a dangerous team. That's the idea. And commensurate with that, the reward is better. I have not noticed what the reward is for a big game bounty in this game. However, in Caldera, when you completed a big game bounty, you automatically had an advanced UAV pop, which was really fucking strong. So I wonder if that's still a reward. I can guarantee the reward for a big game bounty is going to be better than a reward for a regular bounty contract. What I'm not sure of is if that reward is in fact an automatic advanced UAV, which I think would be, I don't know how I feel about it. Probably a mistake. It's probably a little too strong. Do you know?
Yes. No.
I'm assuming.
No, I don't know.
Okay. But anyway, the fact of them being in is good, though. More bounties is awesome. High risk, high reward bounties are very cool. And it's also fun when you're the team that has it placed on you, which I always am because I play with people with 8 KDs who are 10 years younger than me, because it brings action to you, which is good.
And it makes doing contracts worthwhile again.
There are now 2 contracts I'm willing to do instead of just 1. Correct. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
What is this next little point, Tanner?
So this is funny. There is a clip going around of this. If you guys didn't know, there has been a bug in the current version of Warzone right now, where if you are holding a self-revive pistol, if you have it equipped, I don't think it happens every single time, but there is a very good chance you will insta-die instead of getting downed. And there's gameplay. It was from MWIII's
That sounds
POV.
familiar.
Yeah, that's happened to us in ranked, to me in ranked. Yeah, super cool. A number of times. Yeah. So it was a POV of MWIII. He's behind his teammates as they're fighting. One of them gets shot. All of a sudden, he's dead and his loot's all on the ground. It was TP, and TP says, "Oh, self-revive pistol bug still in the game." So you just insta-die. How do they not know by now these things exist? So if this version of Warzone launches without that fixed, I have no hope for this game at all. Because with all of those fucking creators there, one guy should have gone straight up to Ted and said, "Ted, this has been a bug for 6 months and I just experienced it. And it is directly related to the self-revive pistol. Please fix it." Yeah. I swear to God, if Warzone launches with this bug again, I will have no faith in the rest of the year. Because it's been a bug for fucking months, and it's so easily replicated. You pick up the goddamn self-revive pistol, and you get shot, and you get downed with it, and you're dead. It doesn't get easier than that. Fucking fix it. You're a game dev. So I thought that was just outrageous, of course, that hasn't been fixed in this build.
Yeah. Game devs. Yeah. Game devs, by the way. So yeah, that's a bug still. So just like just like some of the MW19 bugs like carried forward to subsequent games. I don't know about Cold War, but like there are bugs like kill cam bugs. Like kill cams haven't worked in fucking 5 years. I wonder if they work now, actually. That's more of a multiplayer thing. But we've had bugs that leap from game to game. They're very viral bugs. And that will continue. Yeah. This game's not that different from MW2, turns out. So, or at least the Warzone integration won't be. But anyway. Pistols. So one thing that is interesting about this game is that if you're in the water, okay, let's say I have 2 guns equipped in Warzone, and it's an AR and an SMG, and I dive into some water. What will happen is the game will generate for me automatically a pistol that I obviously don't have equipped. And it's a basic ass dog shit pistol, probably like a Glock or something, with no attachments or whatever. But it's a pistol so that you can shoot something underwater, even if you don't have a pistol equipped yourself. So then the question is, okay, well, what if my secondary is a pistol using a conversion kit to make it a fully automatic SMG, but it's technically in the pistol category? Can I still shoot that underwater? Or will it take out a dogshit Glock like it does for people who don't have a pistol equipped? Well, unfortunately, you can shoot your fully automatic pistol SMG hybrid combo underwater so long as you have that equipped. So, on the one hand, automatically giving a pistol to people who aren't rats running pistols to use underwater so they can somewhat defend themselves, I think is a good change. However, allowing guns to be shot underwater, period, and certainly allowing for custom pistols that have all the attachments and are full auto to be shot underwater is still bad. So the way water behaves now with that automatic pistol draw is going to be better than it is now, but not much better, because every other problem is still going to exist. And now there's going to be more water, more likely, more often.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't have anything else to add. I don't want water, period. So.
Yeah. So on to some more good news, though. I'm going to go piss out of my giant hog. Why don't you tell us about this next point, though?
Yeah. So it's official. One-shot sniping is back. We don't know a ton of details yet. In fact, when we were watching some players, I'm pretty sure they were getting headshots and they were getting the 3 plates cracked pop up. Don't know exactly how it works, but I'm not sure if anyone knows how it works, let's be clear. But one-shot headshot snipers are back in some way. You don't have to equip explosive ammo, it's nothing like that, but some of them definitely one-shot. Now, at what range? Don't know. Which guns? Don't know. Is it a bug? Is it a feature? Couldn't tell you. So we don't know if some of these, their one-shot range is 100 meters, if it's 200 meters, or if it's just infinite. I'm not sure. But there are clips going around. People at CoD Next did confirm one-shot sniping is back. Now, these were all like heavier snipers as well. So I'm not sure if we're getting like the fast Kar 98 Swiss. I wish we were, but yeah, probably not. But also, these snipers in this game are just faster because MW3 movement and everything is faster. They were ADS quickly. Strafe speed seemed pretty good. So definitely an improvement, obviously, from what we have now. Now you have to use a 500 meters per second velocity ammo type to get a one-shot down, maybe. And it's just boring and it's not fun to play whatsoever. But so in some regard, we are getting back one-shot snipers. So excited to see more details about that. Better than nothing, for sure.
This is fantastic.
And some of the ranges did seem pretty far, like 100 meters plus, which makes me think some of the guns may just one-shot at any range.
I agree. Here's what I'm thinking is going to be the case. They are going to bring back the sniper implementation we had in late stage Warzone 1, meaning some snipers The slower the sniper, the farther the one-shot distance. So some snipers like the ZRG, which was a big bolt-action, slow ADS, slow rechamber, behemoth of a sniper, can one-shot headshot a fully plated enemy at any range in Warzone. Whereas Kar 98, a really light, fast ADS sniper, it can one-shot headshot someone with full health, but only within 42 meters or whatever. And the range at which a sniper can one-shot headshot is correlated to how mobile it is, how fast of handling it is. This was, in my view, the best way to balance sniping in Warzone because, yeah, the Verdansk Kar 98 was overpowered. It one-shot at any range, and it was also insanely mobile and had no sway. It was too easy to use. It was too good. I think this late-stage Caldera implementation was the best implementation, the most balanced way you can do snipers, and it looks like that's what it looks like to me, and it seems likely to me, that this is how sniping will be handled in Warzone post-integration, and that is a fucking... And it's also fantastic news. Just fantastic news. I would love to see this. You could pick what sniper you want to use. If you find most of your snipes are within 80 meters, you can use like a bit lighter of a sniper that one shots up to 70 or whatever. Or if you want to play like Iron and sit on top of a building and snipe at everyone for the whole game, and you don't want to have to worry about range, and you want to hit long shots, you also have an option. I fucking love it. I think it's the best way to implement sniping. I really hope that is the case, but whatever the case may be, sniping is back in some capacity, and that's a fucking let's fucking go, and Warzone is saved. This is Tanner and I's pet issue. We are a, you know how there are like single issue voters in politics where they only vote for whoever based on one issue, like legalizing weed or some dumb shit like that? Oh, I'm a single issue Warzone player, basically. Can I snipe? And it looks like I can, so I'm voting for fucking Sledgehammer, baby. I'm very excited about this. Tremendously excited about this.
So hopefully also there are fast snipers, like similar to a Kar and Swiss, that have a one-shot range of, say, like 50 meters or something. Because then you could use those on Resurgence.
Exactly.
That'll make Resurgence super fucking fun.
True.
And we have some exciting things to mention here about Resurgence coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that will be dope. Now, my one question, which would lead us down a rabbit hole, so we're not going to go into it, but I'm just going to say right now, how do they balance this with MW2 snipers that are dog shit in the game? Do they leave those as is? Do they leave it so those
That's
one
a
shot
great question.
with awful because those are totally unusable then, which is fine. I don't give a fuck, but they have to do something to balance them because they're not going to make them unusable. I guess I'll put it that way. They will have to tweak them to make some of them one shot. And we've kind of speculated a lot recently. It does seem more and more now that Raven couldn't do anything this last year, almost anything. Because all of a sudden, Ted's tweeting again. Ted's up there talking. Raven is tweeting a lot of things about Warzone. They're adding one-shot snipers in. So there is a chance when Warzone launches, there is a massive weapon overhaul, and a lot of the MW2 snipers will one-shot then. Because Raven's in control and Infinity Ward is out of the way, possibly. So we'll see. That's totally possible that they do a total sniping overhaul. Because they're going to have to do a bunch of gun balancing anyways to fit them with the MW3 weapons, I'm sure.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I'm curious to see as well. I'm trying
SPX would be here. SPX would be super fun if they made that a one shot. That would be the Kar 98 or Swiss of MW2. That'd be dope.
Yeah, it would. I'm trying to pull up oh, here we go. That's why I didn't see it. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, moving on from that, I'm just super excited. We'll see what happens. But on the topic of shooting people far away, we've apparently found what will be the optic that people use in Warzone once the integration happens. I don't know the name of this optic, but I have it pulled up here. Breadman was using this during COD Next, and it looks like an axial arms, actually. I would say it takes up a little less of my screen than an axial does, but it's got a pretty thin bezel. The sight picture is very clean. It's literally just a cross. There's one thin black line down the middle and one across the middle as well. And it looks like a solid little reticle. And I guess, yeah, do you know the name of it or how much it says it zooms in?
No, he didn't say. I assume it's like a 3 times. Basically, it looks exactly like the Vanguard 3-6, but it doesn't have different zoom levels.
The 6x
it's just
option.
It's just like 3. It's that same thin bezel, and it's the super thin reticle, horizontal line, vertical line. Yeah. So
and
this
is
will
really
be
good.
This will be the meta optic for Warzone, I would imagine. Yeah, because I guess we haven't really mentioned that yet because it's more multiplayer. But the screen shake in gunplay is basically gone.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of these zoom optics more usable as well without that bullshit visual recoil. So, you know, probably end up getting bored of this too, to be honest. But if you liked the Caldera era type of gunplay, it looks like that's what we're going to have again in Warzone.
And it won't be as bad because guns won't zoom in as far. That's one thing. And it's also possible that guns are going to still have more recoil. They're just not going to have additional visual recoil on top of it. And that's the best case scenario. The best case scenario is some guns have some recoil, but it's not screen shake. It's like real recoil, like an EM2, for example. That's the best case scenario. And I think that's pretty likely because one of the reasons guns in Caldera, the Vanguard guns with that 3-6X, didn't have any recoil is because you could put an attachment in all 10 slots. You won't be able to do that with MW3 guns. So you're not going to be able to build a max recoil gun because you're going to have to pick and choose what attachments you want. So you're not going to be able to run a suppressor, which will keep you off the minimap, and a muzzle brake, which is going to help your recoil control more than a suppressor will. You're going to have to pick one. So I think the guns are going to have more recoil, making gunfights actually skill-based and challenging, unlike Caldera in the Vanguard era. But also doable. I'll be able to use a 3X optic because even though it has some recoil, it's not also visual, so I'll actually be able to hit targets with it. This would be perfect best case scenario, and that's what it looks like to me. I'm really glad to see this.
What was I going to say? Yeah, another question I have now. Modern Warfare 2 guns in Warzone, do they balance the guns and somehow remove the screen shake? Or are those guns just also going to have a bunch of screen
dog
shake?
Shit? Yeah, I know. It's a good question.
I can see them honestly not touching the screen shake. I don't know.
I could see that too.
It's super weird.
Mm-hmm.
Warzone may launch with all of those Modern Warfare 2 guns being totally unusable after seeing the new ones.
Yeah. It's very possible that only SMGs are usable from MW2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or like the shotguns or whatever. But anyway. And then another random thing I wrote here. I'll actually I'll put this at the end. So we have a couple of Charlie Intel tweets. Let's see. So a couple other things we didn't mention. Ghost will only work while moving in Warzone post-integration. That's very good.
Yeah.
Obviously. It's fantastic.
It should have always been. I don't know how it ever has worked differently in Warzone ever.
Correct.
Warzone 1 should have launched with it that way, and we should have it that way right now. So, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what else. There are red dots on the minimap, so I mentioned that briefly, but yeah, in Warzone and in multiplayer, if you shoot an unsuppressed gun, a red dot will appear on enemies' minimaps. Yep. This will transfer to Warzone, meaning we're going to enter a suppressor meta again. Like right now in MW2, I think if you shoot a gun unsuppressed, your red dot doesn't show up on the minimap. You show up on the compass, but not the minimap. That's why no one really bothers to run suppressors in MW2 or in Warzone right now, because it doesn't matter, because you're not going to be on the minimap either way. So now red dots will be on the minimap, which will kind of require people to run suppressors. I'm glad there are red dots on the minimap, but I think that's way more important for multiplayer than Warzone. I don't really care for Warzone, honestly.
Just so used to not having it, I don't even really think about it anymore.
Well, and everyone's just going to run suppressors, so like it doesn't matter really. You know?
Maybe not on things like SMGs. I can see SMG,
yeah, true.
like the meta still not being suppressed weapon or not suppressed weapon. So I don't know. And then like early game and stuff. It will help with the speed and the flow of Warzone, though, I think. That could also help with lower player counts. If people see red dots in the minimap, they know exactly where you're shooting from. They'll start rushing your area.
It's definitely
faster, quicker gunfights.
For sure. I would definitely prefer this to there not being them, obviously. Yeah, for sure. So that's another good thing. There are dedicated ammo slots now, which is a huge, massive W. So one thing we didn't mention, actually, there is still a backpack system post-integration, and you have like 5 miscellaneous slots where you can put anything in your backpack just like you can right now. But instead of only having a dedicated ammo slot for gun types you're using, you have one for all ammo types. So just like in Warzone 1, if you're not running a shotgun, you probably have 40 rounds of shotgun ammo on you in that dedicated slot. That is how we've gone back to that. This was one of the recommendations I had a long time ago for the backpack. In fact, when we had Tom Henderson, friend of the pod, on the show, he was talking about the backpack system, and I said, that sounds terrible unless there are also still dedicated ammo slots. I saw it. I saw the problem before the game even launched. None of the devs did, though. But they've now finally seen the light, and there is an ammo slot dedicated for every type of ammo, which is going to make looting tremendously faster and easier. So this is really good as well.
Yep.
Another thing, going off the tweet here for a second, something I thought of. The loot situation is better. When you open a box, the loot comes out not on the same pixel, but in like kind of a semicircle. And if you kill someone, the loot drops from their corpse in a circle, which is really good. Now, the loot doesn't float like it used to, but it's still in a circle, making looting way easier in this game than what we have now currently, which is when you kill someone, all of their shit drops on the same pixel. It now drops in a circle. Another huge improvement. Huge quality of life improvement. So those two things combined are going to make the pacing a lot better, because you can spend less time looting and therefore faster paced games. You can be moving and shooting.
It seems
other
that
people
ammo
more.
pickup's just a lot better now too, because it auto picks up all types, so you don't have to have like a certain gun in your hand. So as you just run over any type of ammo and you kill a dead body, it'll fill it all back up.
Exactly.
And just to be clear, your backpack still has 5 slots. You can even put extra ammo in there. I think the dedicated slots, it's like the normal up to 180, I think, probably.
Yeah.
Like the normal max stack. And then if you want to carry even more, you can put more in your backpack, or you can just put 5 precision airstrikes in there too.
Or 5 reinforcement flares, which are coming back as well.
Reinforcement flares are in, yep.
As well as redeploy packs. So.
As well as the vests we already talked about and complained about. Yeah.
The medic vest and shit. So anyway, moving on here, back to the tweet. Gas mask, manual equip. Big and good. You can auto equip the gas mask. Or excuse me, manually equip the gas mask. This was a feature we had in Warzone 1. Didn't have it. Now we have it again. So this is very good.
All year to add that back in. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it took a while. Tear gas is countered by the gas mask. Weird. Not relevant, but okay. I'll take it, I guess.
It's the way it should have always worked, but yeah, I mean, it's not, no one's going to run tear gas anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why it's ever been otherwise. So,
yeah.
Cool.
So, anyway. A couple other things. The Champions Quest will be updated in Warzone for Season 1 post-integration. If you kill the team that has the contract active, they will actually drop the contract now.
That's pretty crazy.
That is really crazy.
So
it's going to make it a lot easier to do.
Yeah, you could complete a nuke by not even getting the 5 win streak or whatever they have it as right now, which they could change to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you could load into a match, your first match of the day, coming off 8 losses in a row from the night prior, kill the Champions Quest team, complete the nuke, set it off,
contract, yeah,
and you get everything. Oh god, that's funny.
I don't know how I feel about this. I don't think I like it
either. Yeah, I don't know. You don't see the nuke contract. I mean, when was the last time? Well, we all play pub, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I've actually seen a nuke contract in my lobby in Warzone maybe 2 times. I can specifically remember the one time, and I'm just assuming it's happened another time, but I don't actually remember it. So
right.
It's not common anyways.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, whatever. Let's see. So yeah, when the integration happens, Warzone will have Urzikstan, the new big map, Ashika Island, and Vondel. And also, next year, I don't know where this is written or if it's written anywhere.
Yeah.
We're also getting Rebirth Island and Fortune's Keep coming back to Warzone 2, baby. Woo,
yep.
Fuck, woo.
Last thing I heard was Fortune's Keep comes early or earlier in 2024, and Rebirth comes, I think someone said like literally late 2024, which is unfortunate. I mean, that may not be till like almost a year from now, to be honest, which would be a little wild. I'm not sure. It would make more sense because of how popular Rebirth is to just drop that on the anniversary of the launch of Warzone in March of next year.
That would be very
so maybe
cool.
we get Fortune's Keep in like May or like January or something, and then Rebirth in March. I don't know, because if they're not bringing Verdansk back, at least bring back the next fan favorite, which is Rebirth. On the anniversary.
So yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're doing it because a lot of people are going to be very happy with this. But because I have Vondel, I don't give a fuck about Fortune's Keep coming back. It'll be cool to have it in rotation, but I mean, I don't know.
I don't care about Keep that much. Rebirth, I think if I have Rebirth in there, I would probably end up playing that more than Vondel, to be honest.
Definitely for a while.
We'll see. I mean, they might as well just remove Ashika Island if they're adding Fortune's Keep and Rebirth back, and let's start there.
Let's get rid of Ashika
out of the game at that point.
Because those maps are both better than Ashika, to be clear.
Both of them. Ashika will far and away be the worst one. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's good though. So Urzikstan, the new Warzone map, has a train that can be controlled by players and horizontal zip lines. So yeah, there are horizontal zip lines from like one rooftop to an adjacent one. That's a great addition. And also the train is kind of nuts in Urzikstan. So you can stop the train by going to the back of it and hitting the brakes. You can also go forward with the train by going to the front of the train and flipping a switch. And you could also go in reverse as well. So if you want to reverse the train and go in the other direction, you can do that from the, what's it called? The
conductor's seat
car. Yeah, whatever.
That conductor thing.
Yeah. So you can stop, reverse, and go forward in trains, and these are controlled by levers. And the brake is at the caboose. So if you're like on the train and some other team just comes and hits the brakes, you might be upset about that or whatever. So this is really cool. I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world, but I think it's a neat way to handle trains. It's a cool addition.
There was something else special on the train. What was it? Did it have a UAV tower on it that you could...
It had a buy, I'm pretty sure.
It had a buy. There's always a buy there. And then I think, is it a UAV tower that you have to like pay $1,000 for? Or is there just like a constant UAV around it?
I would assume you have to pay for it.
No, because how would that... Yeah, that wouldn't work. You'd have to interact with it. Yeah, that's cool. And I saw OP Mark say he told the devs to add a recon contract onto the train.
He's such a god.
It's funny. Yeah. Dude, when we saw that train in the live stream, that was the first thing that I said. I was like, dude, OP Mark's just creaming.
He's just
about
coming
this OP Iron.
Pants.
Imagine if they can do all that seven recons in a row again from
and then
the train.
Just buy all their streaks directly on it. Yeah.
And then one-shot snipers. God, they're gonna love this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty cool, the train stuff. They copied Red Dead Redemption. They want to be Red Dead Redemption so bad, controlling a train. It's kind of embarrassing, but yeah.
Next,
Red
moving
Dead's
on.
The best game of all time.
From Reddit, it's not a good game.
Game and story of all time. There's something wrong with you. There really is.
From right away.
Finish the game. You want something to play? Play Red Dead 2.
All right, what's the next fucking note, bitch?
This is about multiplayer, actually, so we won't talk about this now. We'll save that for later. Because that would never come to Warzone anyways. So next thing here from Treyarch. Ranked play, of course, confirmed. So multiplayer ranked play coming at the midpoint of Season 1. So probably, mid-season, I would guess. Who knows? And Warzone ranked play will not be coming until early 2024. Which, I don't really know why. I guess that means they're probably just making drastic changes to how the whole system... Well, no, I guess they need to see, make sure the guns are balanced well enough,
I like this.
That's probably why they say early 2024. They probably don't even have a set date. They're probably, aiming for February 1st or something, but let's see how everything's going.
Yep.
So,
which is how
we will not have on launch.
Which is how a competent development studio plans things, by the way. And Treyarch is maybe the only one at Activision. So that's good. Yeah. Ranked should not launch on the launch of the integration. It's going to be a buggy, imbalanced clusterfuck. It'll be fun, but it's going to be a nightmare. So they need to iron all that shit out first. So yeah, this is good. That's good to hear. And then...
last thing.
Last
performance.
thing. Tell us about it.
So Favs FPS, who is a PC builder optimizer on Twitter, well known, not a scammer like a dipshit, Cornel. So he said Warzone FPS looking a bit on the lower end. So when we were watching the streams at CoD Next, everyone was getting from 100 to 140-ish FPS. And we even pointed out, I think I said, I wonder what kind of rigs they're on, because this FPS is pretty dog shit for Warzone. So their PCs are new. I mean, they're on 4070 GPUs, which is the newest NVIDIA GPU line. They're on the new RAM, the type you have. That's DDR5, right? I think that's 5. So they're on the new RAM and the new Intel DDR5 CPUs. Playing on 1440, and they were getting 100 to 130 frames. That's not great. That's not great at all. Again, at the end of Caldera, people on good PCs were actually getting 250 constant. There were people around 300.
Well, to be fair, the CoD Next PCs were probably also running 1440p.
They were. I just said that. And then also, they were streaming at the same time. So that's going to give you a little bit of performance hit as well. But, again, old build. We'll have a day one patch. We'll have day one NVIDIA drivers that they work together with Activision.
And who knows what settings they were running. Shit. Did they turn all their graphics settings down? Did they turn off
some of the absolute morons they invited to CoD Next played with motion blur on. Let's be clear. If you play with motion blur on in Call of Duty, you should not get an invite to Call of Duty Next, ever.
Yeah.
Let's not invite those people next time. Let's blacklist them. That's outrageous.
Yeah.
So, I'm just hoping the performance isn't worse than what we have now, because it's already not worried that about great in Warzone 2. So hopefully it doesn't just continue to get worse.
Yeah, the map is smaller too, though. I'm not worried at all. And the lobby sizes are going to be probably 100 people. So I'm really not worried about the performance in general. Because it was, by the way, the frames were kind of low, but I didn't see anyone stuttering. I didn't see any micro stutters. I didn't hear any complaints about that, which is really good. And generally, they optimize Warzone performance over time.
I didn't even see anyone crashing or anything, really.
There were a couple crashes, but not that many.
Oh, were there? Okay.
Yeah.
So this old build is probably more stable than the current Warzone right now.
Maybe. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, so it's something to look out for. But, I mean, this is, and it's going to depend on people's computers and shit. So we'll see. But my last thing is the visibility. We're going to talk about this more in our Patreon free trial bonus episode, patreon.com/thedropshot. But I am getting worried about the visibility in this game. Even in multiplayer, the visibility doesn't look great to me. And other people have tweeted the visibility is pretty bad in multiplayer. And if the visibility is bad in multiplayer, it's going to be worse in Warzone. So probably. So my biggest worry right now for the integration is visibility. Will I be able to see other people? Right now, visibility is perfectly fine for Warzone. It's good even. So hopefully that is still the case with the integration and the new map, but I'm a little worried about it. And you're not very worried about it, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Visibility in multiplayer looks really fucking bad. We noticed that right away watching gameplay. Like we had said how I couldn't tell a difference from watching the streams of who was a teammate and who was an enemy at time. And it turns out they all ended up complaining about that too. So that was pretty noticeable. But yeah, for Warzone, I don't know. I think the Warzone map looks a little more vibrant than multiplayer maps. The multiplayer maps just look dull and super boring. I don't know. But again, this always happens at the launch of games where like there's no color too, because like you're holding default guns. So even having camo on your guns make it feel like the game is more vibrant. Then people will be running crazy operator skins that are more vibrant instead of just all default skins that blend in with the surroundings. So I'm a little worried about it, but I don't know. This is one of those things. Once I play like even the multiplayer beta next weekend, I'll be able to tell like, oh, this visibility is not nearly as bad as it looks on the stream.
For sure.
But yeah, because we've had a year of pretty good visibility here. So that would suck if we go back to having to run NVIDIA filters again, having to change all these settings to be able to see people. That would be really, really miserable. So hopefully we get better visibility. Yeah. I mean, that was just... I can't believe some of you morons think the visibility on Verdansk 84 was better than Caldera. Go fuck yourself if you have that opinion. It's wild. You just the haze everywhere. That map looks so bad. When I was looking for the Verdansk map at the start of this pod, some screenshots of Verdansk 84 came back. The map was just yellow and hazy and disgusting. You couldn't see anything, and I still can't believe people try to think they could. So yeah, you're a fucking moron if you held that opinion. But yeah, it won't be that bad. We know that from the gameplay.
Yeah, well, I hope so. And people are complaining about it, which is really good news. As long as people bitch about it enough, it does get changed eventually, most of the time. Especially when it's like everyone. So we'll see. But that's my kind of... That and the water, a lot of water in mid, those are my big concerns for Warzone. But overall, and I'm curious what they're going to do with the gear system. Overall, though, does Warzone look better after the integration than before? You're goddamn right it does.
Surely, yeah.
You're goddamn right it does. So pretty much no matter what, after the integration, this game is going to be a lot more fun than it is right now, and I'm very excited. Plus, we're going to have the novelty of new guns, a new map, some of the new perks, Combat Scout and Shrouded and all that bullshit. It's going to be a blast whenever it launches. It's going to be a buggy disaster. There's going to be things that are wildly OP. That's all part of the game when there's a new game out. It's all part of the experience, and it'll be fun as long as they patch it within a week or two. That'll be fun. So I'm very, very, very incredibly excited, and I'm most excited not for the movement, not for the map, not for the new guns, but to be able to get a nice fucking Barrett 50 cal equipped and click on some heads and one-shot snipe in Warzone again. That's what I'm most excited about. But I'm probably somewhat unique in that regard. But no matter who you are, I think you're going to have more fun after this integration. I think it looks very promising. Those are my kind of overall thoughts.
Yeah. The CoD Next Warzone gameplay from last year, I mean, just right away, you're like, what the hell am I watching? So, obviously, this is still the same Warzone. It's just like they've made changes. Last year, it was just a whole new title. But yeah, J-God pointed that out too, how like the vibes were much, much higher this year. It's like everyone came out of CoD Next like actually happy and excited. He was like, last year, not at all the case. People, like after the event, people were like, what the fuck was that? And he had pointed out how he said back then, they need to delay Warzone for months because it was not at all ready.
Yeah.
So, definitely much better than what we have now. But hopefully we get the gear system. I think that's the biggest thing. I would love to see the perks and gear come over. It would be a real shame if they limit that to multiplayer when it seems like on paper such an excellent system. So, yeah, I'd love to see that. And one-shot sniping, there's one-shot sniping and the velocity is not less than an SMG, I think I'll have fun in the game. More fun than Warzone 2.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, we're both very excited. Obviously, like we said at the outset, there are probably a ton of things we didn't cover or missed or whatever. There's so much going on that it's impossible. But those are some big things that came to mind with us. Those are kind of our thoughts on Warzone. And overall, we're very optimistic. So, reminder, patreon.com/thedropshot. We will be doing free trials from October 13th through the 31st. So, at any time, you can sign up for a free trial for a week of our gold tier membership, which gives you ad-free episodes, early access to episodes, and 3 bonus episodes, all Call of Duty related per month. One of which for this month is going to include our dissection, just like we did here, of Warzone, but for multiplayer. We're going to be doing that sometime next week. Free trials will go live on the 13th. So by the time the free trials are live, the multiplayer episode will already be on Patreon, or it will be coming very soon. So keep that in mind. And that's going to be a really big, good episode. And there is a ton to get into there. A deep dive into the gear system, the maps, the guns, the gunsmith. There's a lot there that I'm really excited to sink my teeth into. So don't miss that. Patreon.com/thedropshot. And we will see you guys next week. Our schedule should probably be pretty normal, but if you wanted to stay abreast, follow us on Twitter at the Dropshot Pod. Join the fucking Discord. The links are below or wherever. And make sure you link your Patreon and Discord accounts, because you get access to special channels as well. But we post our schedule on Twitter and on Discord. So keep an eye on those things. But next week's going to be very fucking exciting. The next couple of weeks are going to be very fucking exciting. And we have a ton of really good content coming publicly and on Patreon. So stay tuned. We got a lot of good shit going on. And that will be it. Thank you all for watching and listening. Stay humble.
Stay humble.